Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Steven's going to be teaching you how to play Feliz Navidad. Now, I got a chance to play through this arrangement earlier today, and I have to say two things. First off, ton of fun to play. Secondly, I think it's going to be best suited for this seasoned intermediate player. So it's a little bit challenging in terms of what our left and our right hand are doing from a fingerstyle perspective. But it is very rewarding. So if you have been looking for a holiday tune to play that is a little bit more challenging, this is going to be a great one to jump into. So let's take a step back now and let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, Steven's going to be teaching you the first half of this song, and then in the part 2 lesson, he'll be teaching the second half, which you can check out by clicking this link right here, or going to the site rockclass101.com and doing a search for the song's name. Now also on the page will be the tabs that you can print off to follow along with, plus the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a great feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Steven to teach you how to play this. Don't forget to grab the low G ukulele, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hi everyone, in this week's lesson we're going to learn a solo fingerstyle arrangement of Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano. This song was originally recorded in 1970 and has since become one of the most played and most popular Christmas songs of all time. And despite all that popularity, it's arguably one of the simplest songs ever written. It has just 4 chords, only 19 words, and according to Feliciano, when a record producer told him that he had to write an original Christmas song for his 1970 holiday album, he apparently wrote Feliz Navidad within 10 minutes. So if that is true, respect to the man, that's how to get things done. Now, like pretty much every Christmas song that exists, there will be some people who love this tune and probably some people who hate it, because that's kind of just how Christmas songs work. For example, I love, and I mean love, Mistletoe and Wine by Cliff Richard. I know. But however you feel about this song, I think it sounds lovely as a fingerstyle ukulele piece. So this is definitely one you'll want to add to your Christmas repertoire. Okay, so 2 requirements for this lesson. You will need your low G ukulele, and you must be wearing your Christmas jumper. Let's get into it. This piece is in 4/4 time, so we have 4 quarter note beats to each measure, and we're aiming for a fairly brisk tempo of 110 BPM, which should be fast enough to keep that kind of fun holiday vibe, but it is slightly slower than the original recording, just to allow our fingers to cleanly navigate some of these tricky left-hand fingerings that we'll see in the chorus section. But like all these songs that you learn, once you've got it down, you feel free to play it at whatever tempo you think sounds best. As always though, I would advise that you don't try and play it faster than your fingers will let you. Your goal should always be quality before speed. Okay, so we get straight into the melody with this pickup bar, which leads us into measures 1 and 2. So those 3 measures together should sound like this. Okay, so we come in on the and of beat 2 in this pickup bar. So the rhythm for the pickup bar is and 3, 4 and. So we start on the E string at the 3rd fret, which we'll hold with the 3rd finger. And then on beat 3, we go to the A string at the 3rd fret and we'll add the pinky on to hold that. Then that rings for a beat, and then on beat 4, we'll drop the A string down to the 2nd fret. So the 2nd finger will go on, and then we'll take off the 3rd and 4th fingers as we pick that note on beat 4. And then the and of beat 4, we come back up to that 3rd fret on the A string. The pinky will take that, 2nd finger can come off, and then we pick that note to complete the pickup bar. Okay, and then into measure 1, we're playing the rhythm 1, 2 and 3, 4. And then beat 1 is going to be this F chord where we play all 4 strings together. And we could pick those notes, or we could do a strum through that chord. It doesn't really matter. In the performance video, I do a strum through that chord, but like I say, it doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as that A string open comes out nice and clear, because that's our melody note. Okay, so that's beat 1. And then everything else that we play in this measure is going to be harmony. So these next notes that we learn, we play just a touch softer so they don't compete with our melody. So beat 2 is the open A once again, but a little bit softer, like I say. Then the and of beat 2, we come to this E string at the 1st, which we're holding here as part of our F chord. And then on beat 3, we want to play the C string at the 2nd fret. So keep the F chord held, but just add the 3rd finger onto that C string at the 2nd. And that's beat 3. And then that rings for a beat. And then on beat 4, we take that 3rd finger off to open up the C string and pick that there on beat 4. Okay, so just measure 1. And if I play that with the pickup bar, nice. And then into measure 2, the rhythm is 1 and 3, 4 and. So beat 1, we're going to come to this G string at the 4th fret. So the 3rd finger will take that, and we'll take off the F chord as we do it. So we just have our 3rd finger on that G string 4th. And when we hit that on beat 1 with the thumb, that's still harmony, so that's still just that touch softer. But then the rest of the notes in this measure, we're back to melody. So we'll be picking these just that little bit more volume so they come out a bit more clearly. So we hit that G string 4th on beat 1, that rings over beat 2, and then the and of beat 2, we're going to play the A string open. As you pick that A string, I would probably take the 3rd finger off the G string. And then on beat 3, we're going to come up to the A string at the 5th fret, which the pinky will take. Then that rings for a beat. And then on beat 4, we drop that A string down to the 3rd fret. So the 2nd finger will take that, pinky comes off, and then we pick that on beat 4. And then complete this measure by pulling that off onto the open A for the and of beat 4. So that last note there we don't pick, we just achieve it with that pull off. And I'll probably just flick your finger straight down off the fretboard to get that nice loud pull off sound. Okay, so just that measure 2. And then with the other 2 measures. Nice. So let's have a go at playing those 3 measures through together now. 3, 4, 1, 2. So on to measures 3 and 4, they should sound like this. Okay, so measure 3, we're playing the same rhythm as we played in measure 1, this 1, 2 and 3, 4. But this time beat 1 is this C5 chord where we have our 3rd finger on the E string at the 3rd fret with the C and the G open. And again, like in measure 1, it doesn't really matter how we play that chord. All of these chords I tend to strum on beat 1, but you could also just pick those notes But again, just making sure that E string at the third comes out nice and clear as our melody note. Okay, so that's beat 1. And then again, similar to measure 1, everything else in this measure now is just harmony. So we'll play it just that touch softer. So on beat 2, we hit that E string at the third once again, and then pull it off onto the open E for the and of beat 2. And then on beat 3, we come to the C string open. So just pick that open string and then finish off with the G string at the 2nd fret, which we'll use the 1st finger for. And that's on beat 4. Okay, so just that measure once again. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Nice, then into measure 4, we're playing similar to measure 2, that same rhythm again. So 1 and 3, 4 and. So beat 1 is just the open G, so easy enough. We just take that 1st finger off to open up the G string, hit that on beat 1, and again that's still harmony, so a fairly soft tap of that open G string. And then the rest of this measure is actually just the same as the pickup bar. So we're playing those same melody notes that we played in the pickup bar of the E string 3rd, A string 3rd, A string 2nd, and then back to the A string 3rd. Okay, so we put those two measures together once again, measures 3 and 4. Brill. So let's have a go at playing those two together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on to measures 5 and 6, they should sound like this. Okay, so measure 5, we're playing the rhythm 1, 2, and 3, 4, and we're starting on this F chord where we play all 4 strings together, and just making sure that we hit that A string open nice and clear as our melody note. Okay, then the next 2 notes that we'll hit on beat 2 and the and of beat 2 are both harmony, so these will be just that little bit softer. So the first one on beat 2 is the G string at the 2nd fret, which we're holding as part of our chord. And then on the and of beat 2, we just hit the E string at the 1st fret, which is also part of our chord. Okay, and then the next note on beat 3, this is back to melody. So we hit this just that little bit louder, and that is just the open A string. And then on beat 4, we hit that string again, which is also a melody, so kind of equal volume there. Okay, so the last 2 notes on beat 3 and beat 4 are both melody. So just that measure 5 once again. Nice. Then into measure 6, we're playing the rhythm 1 and 3, 4 and. Okay, so this time we're coming to this version of a G chord where we're going to have our 3rd finger on the G string at the 4th fret, our 1st finger on the C string at the 2nd, and our 2nd finger on the E string at the 3rd fret. Okay, so we can ignore the A string because we're not playing the A string at all in this measure. All of our melody notes are going to fall on the E string. And in fact, if we look at this measure, every single E string note in this measure is all melody. So these are all going to be played kind of with consistent volume. So we play this chord on beat 1, just making sure that E string at the 3rd does come out clear as our melody. Then the and of beat 1, we hit that E string again, and that rings for a beat. Then the and of beat 2, we hit that E string at the 3rd once more. And then we have this fairly quick change where we want to kind of swap these fingers round so that the 1st finger goes over onto the E string at the 1st fret and the 2nd finger goes to the C string at the 2nd fret. And if you can, keep that 3rd finger on the G string so that bass note can just keep ringing over this measure, then do that. If that's too much of a stretch, it's okay to take it off there, but try and keep it on if you can. And then beat 3, we just play the double stop there of the E string and the C string and let that ring for a beat. And then on beat 4, pick out that E string at the 1st on its own. And then on the and of beat 4, probably take off both of these fingers, fingers 1 and 2, to open up those strings, but then just pick the E string open on the end of beat 4. Okay, so just that measure 6. 1 and 3, 4 and. Okay, and then with measure 5. Okay, so let's have a go at playing those two measures through together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on to measures 7 and 8, they should sound like this. Okay, so measure 7, we're playing the rhythm 1, 2 and 4 and these are all harmony and they're all open strings, so we're playing them all just that little bit softer. So beat 1 is the open G, and then on beat 2, the open C, followed by the open E on the and of beat 2. That rings for a beat, then the and of beat 3, drop it to the C string open, and then on beat 4, the G string open, then the and of beat 4 back to that C string open. So just that measure. 1, 2 and 4 and. Okay, and then into measure 8 we're playing 1 and 3, 4 and. So beat 1 is the open E, which again is harmony, and we play it fairly soft. And that kind of just completes that harmony section from measure 7. So if I play measure 7 and just that first beat of measure 8, because that kind of all goes together, it would sound like this. Okay, and then on beat 2, we don't play, but we're going to do a kind of like string tap with our fingers on beat 2, just to kind of cut those notes from ringing, and then take us back into that melody section, which repeats the verse once again. Okay, so when it gets to beat 2, don't kind of pick anything, just get all of your fingers and just kind of gently tap them onto the strings, like that. So if I play measure 7 and then beat 1 and then that string tap on beat 2 of measure 8, it would sound like this. 1, 2 and 4 and 1, 2. Okay. And then straight after we've done that, we then play this pickup bar melody section once again. So the and of beat 2 is just that E string at the 3rd, followed by the A string at the 3rd, drop to the A string 2nd, and then back to the A string 3rd. So just like we saw at the very start of this piece. Nice. So if I play those two measures through once again. Nice. So let's have a go at playing those two measures through together now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once we've played measure 8, we then go back to the start of measure 1 and repeat that verse section through once more. When we get to the end of measure 7 the second time round, we then jump to measure 9. So measure 7 and 9 together should sound like this. And that's the beginning of the chorus section there, which I'm sure you can hear. Okay, so measure 7 we know, so if we look at measure 9, we're going to play the rhythm 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. So beat 1 is this open E string, which is just a harmony note that kind of completes that run of harmony notes from measure 7. So we're playing that note fairly soft, but then all of the A string notes that happen now for the rest of this measure 9 are all melody, so we want to make sure that we hear those nice and clear as we're picking them. So the and of beat 1, we get straight into that melody run by playing the A string at the 7th fret with our pinky, And then on beat 2, we're going to play that again, but we're going to thicken it up by adding the C string at the 7th fret with it as well. So the 3rd finger will go on, and we play those 2 strings together on beat 2. And then we play them again on the end of beat 2, and then again on beat 3. Okay, so just that measure 9 up to that beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, and then when we've hit that double stop on beat 3, that rings for a beat, and then on beat 4, we're going to drop those 2 fingers down 2 frets to the 5th fret. So the same 2 fingers, just slide them down, and then hit those 2 strings on beat 4. Okay, and then the and of beat 4 we're not going to pick, we're going to achieve that with a slide of our pinky down 2 more frets to the 3rd fret. Okay, but as we do that, we don't want the C string to slide down as well. So when you start the slide with your pinky, just take that 3rd finger off the C string, so it's just the pinky going down on the A string. Okay, so if I play just beat 4 and the and of beat 4, that would sound like this. Okay, so as soon as the pinky starts to slide, just lift that 3rd finger off. Like that. Okay, so if I put that all together for measure 9, it would sound like this. And then with measure 7. Nice. So let's have a go at playing those 2 measures through together now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright guys, so first off, a big congrats on getting the first half of this song down. This is definitely an arrangement that's knocking on the door of the advanced player level, so it's a great one for those of you who are really wanting to level up from intermediate to advanced. Now, I do want to give you a friendly reminder that if you do want to jump into the part 2 lesson to learn the second half of this song, you can do so by clicking this link or going to the site rockclass101.com, doing a search for the song's name. Don't forget too, on that page are the tabs that you can print off to keep for your records, plus the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. So you can literally hit play, you can watch that tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So guys, I hope you enjoyed learning the first half of this tune, and we'll catch you in the part 2 lesson. Take care.